Welcome to the next part in our series. I can't exactly remember what number this is. We're in the 30s, but in this particular video, we're going to actually add a app icon. I'm going to actually show you how I go about creating these, as well as a kind of launch image, otherwise known as a splash screen. So if we actually go and close all of these, you see for a second, there's like that other intermediate screen, which is just black or white, depending on light and dark mode. We'll actually put something there. So drop a like before we get into things. We're gonna actually first create said icon, and let's go to our browser. And I will preface by saying that there's a bunch of design tools out there. I am a big fan of Canva. I used to be a Photoshop junkie, but since have moved to Canva. So I am going to jump over to canva.com, and I've already logged in here. I use this for my YouTube thumbnails. You can actually see the Rick and Morty app thumbnail here. I've got a Twitter series planned, so there is that. So what we're gonna want to do in here is create an image, and where it's going to go in our project is in resources and assets, particularly an app icon. So a little bit of history. Back in the day, there used to be a bunch of different sizes that this would show, and you would need to create an icon in every size. And there were some, generator apps in the App Store where you give it a big image and it would scale it down to all the different permutations. Luckily, with Xcode 14, we can only now have to give it a 1024 by 1024 icon, and Xcode and the system will handle all the various scaling for us. So that being said, let's create a new project in here in Canva, and what I'm gonna go and do is say we're gonna create with a custom size, and the custom size is going to be 1024 by 1024, which is what Apple has asked of us, and we'll get this canvas here. So let's start creating this. What I want to go and do is look for some Rick and Morty pictures. So I'm going to search Rick and Morty, and it looks like that is not what Rick and Morty is. So we'll jump into our library of prior stuff that I've brought in. And I've actually brought in this Rick and Morty icon already. So what our app is going to be is, or app icon I should say, is I'm just going to scale this up, make it a little bit larger so it fits both sides here. And I'll just kind of center this so we don't have any of the white background showing. And I think this is a pretty reasonable app icon. Now, obviously, it's a little busy, so you can use the text tool in here. You can use, any of the various colors or shapes, and there's quite a few things you can use. And I might add that most of this stuff is free. I'll caveat and say that I am a Canva Pro subscriber. They have a premium membership. They do a free trial. This video is not sponsored, but take a look at Canva. It's an awesome tool. So that being said and out of the way, let's actually download this by hitting the share button at the top right. We're gonna go ahead and download this. I'll change the format to JPEG, and I'll just hit download here. All right, drag it to my desktop. And let's see where it actually put it. I swear I just dragged it to my desktop, but I don't see it. Okay, there it is. Let's rename this to just icon. And we're gonna remove this from full screen for a moment. And all we need to do is drag this icon into Xcode right there. And we'll see it pop in. Alrighty, we can go ahead and build and run. And we should see on our home screen the icon be applied. So let's go to the home screen. And sometimes the simulator does some weird stuff where it'll show up and then just randomly disappear. So let's actually delete the app by holding it, hitting delete, and then rerunning our app. And this time the icon should persist. So cool, we actually have an app icon now. The app is called Rick and Morty, but we probably want Rick and then the and symbol space Morty. So we're gonna go to our project navigator here. At the top, we'll hit general, and there is a field in here called display name. Right now it's empty, but that's only because we have not actually given it a specific name, so it just picks up the name of the project. So I'll call this Rick and Morty, and I'll also give this an app category. We'll maybe go ahead and say that this app will go into, I guess, the education category. We'll see if Apple allows us on the App Store. So let's build and run again. Let's make sure that our display name actually did take, which in fact it did. And let's build out the launch screen. So you can build out the launch screen in primarily one way. I mean, there are other slight variation ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the most common. When we had first created our project, we had an option in here called launch screen, or a file, I should say. And this is the storyboard interface. If you've ever heard of that term thrown around, it's basically this drag and drop interface where you can create layouts. It's generally not that common with actually building out screens in your app because doing it programmatically the way we've done it gives you far more control. But for launch screen, since it's usually just an image and kind of a, maybe some text, it's more acceptable here. So all we're going to do is hit this little plus at the top right, and I'm going to search for a label in here, and we'll drag it on in. I'm going to click on this and say Rick and Morty app. Pretty awesome looking launch screen here. We are going to want to pin this into the middle of the screen, so we'll add a constraint at the bottom right here saying horizontal and vertically in container. And the other thing I'll do is I'm going to pin this to the top, left, bottom, and right. So once we do that, it'll basically be attached such that the text is always in the middle. It's actually yelling at me because we don't actually need the constraints for horizontally and vertically in the container, because it's basically what it's doing is it's conflicting with the top, left, and right constraints that I've added. So I'm going to click on the ruler at the top right here and just select the align center X, backspace, delete it, align center Y, backspace, delete it, and you'll see that we don't have any red scary lines and warnings. So cool, so now that we've done that, let's center the text by clicking it. On the right panel, we'll hit the fifth icon from the left, which will give us attributes. And we can specify some attributes. So we'll center the text. I'm going to change the text size and font. So let's go ahead and make this perhaps like bold. And let's see what 32 looks like for the size. I think that looks pretty good. And let's see what else we want to do. It looks a little plain at the moment, but let me give this a run. Maybe we'll change the background color of this view. And perhaps instead of the system background color, let's actually make it system blue color. And I'll change the text color here. Well, I guess Rick and Morty's color is more of a green, so I'm going to nitpick and actually change the view's color one more time. Let's go back to here, and let's find the green in here. I want to say I've seen a green in here before. If you don't see the color that you want to use, you can come all the way to the bottom and hit custom, which will bring up this little color swatch palette thing. And we can manually move it to green. And let's make it a little bit darker. We can find a nicer green, so let's move that there. And I think that looks pretty nice. Let's leave it like maybe we want a little bit more of a dull green so we can actually read it. So we'll maybe do that. I feel like it looks a little ugly. Let's jump into here, and I'm nitpicking at this point, so feel free to skip to the next video. Let's look for green inside of here. I don't actually see it. Maybe everyone has something against green these days. So let's come into here and do it in here. So I think this green is kind of nice and bright. Make it a little darker perhaps. And we'll see what that looks like. So I'll click onto this, I will click away, and we'll want this Rick and Morty to now maybe be a white color. So I'll change the text color in here to actually be white. So there we have white color. Stop our app, give it a build and run. And when our app launches, we should see that launch image basically now. And we're not actually seeing it because our simulator is deciding to be annoying. So I'm going to close the app and we're going to launch it again. It's going to yell at me in Xcode that we force close the app. We'll go and launch it, and there you saw for a split second, we actually saw the launch screen. And I'll fill you guys in on a pro tip. If you want to slow down animations, in the toolbar at the top of your computer where we have File, Edit, Device, I/O, and Features, we can actually go to Debug, and there's an option in here to slow animations. When you check it and you click the app, you'll see everything in the simulator is slow. So in that case, we saw the splash screen for a split second. We can click on this and make sure everything looks, super fluid and really nice. And it's really good. It's a good way and technique to debug what's going on. You can obviously uncheck it and it goes back to, normal animation speed. But when you want to be super duper nitpicky, it is available to you. So that's all I've got for this video. We've got an app icon. We've got a launch image. We've got settings looking good. We haven't built out search yet or locations. So we're going to continue building that out, and then we haven't documented anything along the way or even thought about unit or UI testing or cleaning up our code. So let's actually do all of that. It's going to probably take several more videos. Drop a like before clicking away. Say hello in the comments. Let me know if you've made it this far and if you used a different app icon. Link it down below. I'm kind of curious. I want to see what everyone came up with. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next part.